Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel one more time. I'm Billy and here's my good friend Alkesh, who's a special guest for today's video, and he's here to show us a little bit of adjustment that we can do on our guitar. That is some stuff that I don't know nothing about it. I'm here to learn and hopefully it'll be helpful for you too. So we're really getting into it after this short video. It's just the time for you to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed yet, and hit the notifications bell. I'll be right back. So first of all, I'd like to introduce to you to Alkesh. He's a friend of mine. He's also a guitar player and a bass player, and he offered me to, teach me some of the stuff that he does in order to, get the instrument set on going. He stressed me that I'm not a guitar technician, so I won't do like any fret work. So okay, I don't think we're gonna need it. But regarding like action of the strings, the action height and intonation, he can do it, and I think that's very helpful because sometimes you're on the road or someplace like myself, because I'm in UK, so I have some minor adjustment I have to do, and I don't know any guitar technicians, so Alkesh is gonna guide us through all this, right? So for me, what I like to do is get them as low as I can so I get comfortable to play. I use O10s on this guitar, 0-10 strings, like regular O10s, like 10 to 46 elixir strings. So that's the main thing. Just lower the strings, get more comfortable.
Yeah, okay.
First question, what should we start?
Okay, first of all, we want to check the neck and to make sure that the neck doesn't need, or maybe will need some adjustment. So we'll look at that first. So we're checking the string height here, and if we can see that it's quite high. When I put my hands on the strings and just press down, there's a lot to press down. So if I come halfway and we're trying to play a chord, there's a lot.
There's a lot of room
from between the
fret
and the string.
Yes.
So this really needs to come down.
Yeah.
Now there may be several different things. So first of all, the obvious one is the string height.
Yeah.
Now this is quite easy to adjust because you just turn it, and that's one thing.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the shape of the neck. So there must always be a small bow in the neck to allow for the vibration of the string. So when you vibrate the string, you can see that it's very tight here, but it moves very far in the middle, and so we have to have enough space for the string to vibrate, but we have to bring it down enough so it's comfortable to play.
Got it.
So we have to find the right balance, and each guitar is different. There are formulas for getting it very close, but each guitar you must adjust to how you prefer playing and what the guitar is capable of as well.
So what's your recommendation regarding these tools, like the essential tools that I should keep at hand to get my guitar?
Normally, when you buy a guitar, they often come with the basic tools. So you should end up with Allen keys. These are a little bit more specialist. And they're not specialist; they're just fancy.
Yeah.
But normally, if you get a set of keys, then you find the ones that fit. And normally they come with a guitar. So you'll have an Allen key for there, and you normally have an Allen key.
The Truss Rod.
For the Truss Rod. So that would go in there like that, and you can adjust like this.
Okay, you told me something about the springs in the back.
Yep, so the springs in the back. Okay.
So here are the springs.
So here's the spring. So what happens is the tremolo.
It's a bit tall. How do you call it?
Yeah, the tremolo at the moment is rising up. Now, Fender usually recommend that there should be about 1/8 of an inch behind there, and if we take a feeler gauge, we put that much in, this is about the right size. So that should be correct. But if we have a look at the front, there are 6 screws here. And if we have a look at the heights of the screws, what we can see is that the screws are kind of raised above. It's not screwed down to the body. So we can adjust those, and Fender normally recommend that the 2 outside screws are actually screwed down, and then we need to adjust the inside 4 screws as well to balance up.
All the way down?
Yes, but not tight.
Yes.
So the outside ones will be the ones that are a little bit tighter, and then the inside ones will be just holding on, really.
Okay.
Just against the surface of the metal there.
Okay.
So that's what we can try to start off with, along with the height of the saddles. Okay. And then once we're happy with how it plays, then we can adjust the intonation, because the intonation should be really the last thing that you do.
Yeah.
Everything else needs to happen before you get the
Yeah.
before you do the intonation.
Normally we'll do that changing strings, right?
Normally
the usual will be like you put new strings.
You put brand new strings on to get the intonation.
Is there a specific reason? And besides of the fact that you should put new strings on the guitar, but I mean...
Yeah, it's just because once strings get older, the intonation can actually change, and this is why it's recommended to change your strings quite often.
Okay.
Because you can have a guitar that has been set up and it's beautifully, the intonation, everything is fine, but then just the quality of the strings degrades, and then when you're playing, sometimes you go, oh, this doesn't sound right, and that can be just the strings.
Yeah.
So for somebody who's on the road a lot, you may find that the hot, cold, damp, dryness, things like this will change how the woods are in the guitar, and that changes the relationship between the balance.
Yeah.
And then you have to, you should kind of adjust for the situation that you're in, especially if you're professional, things like this.
Yeah.
You want it to feel the same every time you pick it up, and if you could get it to that stage, then you know that you can do your job really well.
Yeah.
So let's just explain a little bit here. You can see what the tremolo does.
Yes.
So if I pull on the strings on this side, the springs are there to pull back.
Yeah.
Okay. There's plenty of things that you can adjust here. So here, the way that this has been set up against the three of those will give a slightly different feel of tension. So you can have them straight, and then these two screws, this is called the claw, because it looks like a claw, and then you can even change the tension by pulling those, and then the springs will stretch more, this will pull this back, and that will then pull that down, so you get the same effect of it doing something like this.
I just would like to try to leave a little bit of room for getting the strings up, because as we talked earlier, I'm not very abusive of the whammy bar, I don't do like those dive
crazy things. It's not the type of guitar that you would do that with, really. The Fender Trems were always designed for more subtle vibrato than rock dive bombs.
It's more up my alley.
Alright, well that's really quite simple. So here, all I'm going to do is just very slightly take a little bit of tension off. When I tighten the springs, this will go
strings
back, and then it will pull on the strings. We don't want to break any strings, basically.
When you adjust the tension of the screws, that you push it a little bit further down,
and as you can see already, it's kind of doing this. But what we have to do now is to bring it back up to concert pitch.
Yes,
because
to check it.
To check, So we must do that, and we must do that with a tuner, really.
So the thing is, that little adjustment that you do, you have like a measure to guide you. It's just something that you feel like it. Oh, just push it, press it a little bit, like two rounds. So.
Yeah, I mean, all I did was maybe 3/4 of a turn or 1 turn. I'm not sure exactly what I did, and I may have to take it out a little bit and do that. So you have to be prepared to do lots of adjusting and lots of retuning. That's the big thing. So it's balancing the springs with the tension of the strings. And it also depends on the gauge of the strings. So if you're using 10 to 46, then the next time you put strings on, put the same strings on once it's set up, and then it should be the same. It should be the same. Right, so with this, literally, I'm gonna tune it up. Okay, so the tension is there now. So if you have a look at the bridge and the spacing, if that feels or looks about right.
It seems to me like this side is a little bit lower than this side.
It's higher on this side. So we can balance that out. So here, what I'm going to have to do now is, let's take the tension off again. And here, what I'm going to do now is to put this all the way down. Put that all the way down. So So we want to bring this down so it's not tight,
Yes.
just sitting on the top really.
So the other two will be like all the way down.
Yeah, will be the ones that are mainly doing the holding the trem in place. If we now have a look, can you see how much more? And so this is now really sitting on the top. You can see that it does move that way.
Yes.
But it's not really going up.
Yeah.
So we can take some of the tension off now.
The springs.
Yeah.
Perfect.
And maybe if we had done it the other way around, we wouldn't have had to do this bit. But it's always that balancing act between one and the other. It's a lot of tuning.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Can you see now is a little bit more of, I think, what you were asking for.
Yes.
Yes, a little bit more. Okay, I just want you, put it in your hand, play a little bit. Okay, so are you happy with the trem? That's
Pretty close, yeah.
yeah.
Perfect.
Are you happy with that? Or
I'm
do you
happy.
want a little bit more adjustment?
We're still gonna mess around with the height of the strings over here, right? For the intonation.
We can test the intonation. The intonation may be fine.
You call it cars here?
With the saddles.
The saddle? Okay.
The saddle,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because yeah.
The
Because in Portuguese, o carrinho, a little car.
a little car.
Yeah. So saddle. Yeah.
Right. This is it. Okay, if you are happy with that, then we can move on to onto the next stage. So,
Perfect.
so we can do a little check on the neck.
Yeah.
And it already looks like it's a little bit lower than where it was before. Yeah, so if I press down at the first fret, and if I press down and kind of like the body fret,
Yeah.
because this will always kind of be flat. So if we do there and then about halfway, you can kind of see that that is the bow of the string, because the string is straight.
Yeah.
So the neck, you can see that that is the tiny little bow in the middle there.
But it's supposed to have this little
Yes, it absolutely has to. But when I'm looking at this, my experience, this is looking like it may be right. We may even have to take a little bit out.
Okay.
So here's a little trick. If you look down the neck, all the frets should look even. If there's anything that looks slightly high, low in places, you can also sort of sometimes tell, well, you should be able to tell whether the neck is twisted, whether there is something kind of going on.
Yeah.
But a tiny just a tiny movement can mean that you can have one part of the guitar not playing as well as the other. It can mean that you can't bring the action down really well. Yeah, it's a pretty good neck actually, in the sense that it doesn't look like it's twisting. The frets all look like they're pretty balanced, which is nice. I wanna just change the angle of the neck slightly and see if that's going to make a difference to how it feels. So the rule here, as you are looking down the neck, if you imagine the truss rod is going on there, if you turn it to the right,
yes.
Okay, so if you go this way or towards you, you are going to tighten the truss rod, and what that will do is it will bend the neck back and make it straighter.
Yeah.
If you go the other way, it's going to put the bow back into the neck, and then essentially it will create more relief or more space in between
the frets.
Yeah,
and the strings. Yeah.
frets. So. And the halfway point is
the 12th fret.
The 12th fret. So we use the 12th fret as our guide. Now we have to assume that all the other frets have been put in exactly the right place.
Yeah.
So essentially what we can do is with the tuner, I'll show you with the E string. There, it's telling me it's right. Okay, so if I play the 12th fret, okay, so if the 12th fret harmonic is right, and then I play at the 12th fret, you can see that it's actually a little bit sharp.
Does that mean that the arch is a little bit.
No, that's literally to do with the distance between here and here.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so this distance cannot change. That is set there. Okay, that will always be there. And the overall length, this has to be the halfway point. So at the minute, if when I play the string,
it's higher
and it's a little bit higher, and that means that the distance between here and here
closer.
is slightly shorter.
Yeah, shorter.
So what we really have to do is to move it back,
set a little bit back.
tiny little bit, retune everything like that. So, and it's a very, very simple trial and error. So if I do maybe half a turn of the screw, and then just go again. Okay, I'm going to check that the harmonic is giving me the same note.
Still a bit higher.
Still a little bit high. I'll tell you what, why don't you do it? You know, because it's your adjustment, really.
Yeah.
You understand the principle.
Yeah.
So really the other thing is to just make sure that the rest of the guitar is also in tune, because obviously at constant pitch, the neck will be in one position, and so consistently kind of going through and just keeping it balanced and keeping it balanced.
A few moments later. One eternity later.
Yeah, okay. You're just sitting and playing, and how does it feel?
For me, it's fine, you know, because I think, I don't want to sound too optimistic, but I think we might have gained a little bit of comfort regarding the action, although we find some bumps in the way, so we have to, you know, to take a few steps back. But the tuning is great, and I think that's it. That's good enough for me. And more than anything, I think that's the main thing here, is just to give an overall vision of what you should do regarding the, you know, the adjustment that you might have to do by yourself.
Yeah. The biggest thing that is likely to change is through temperature, humidity.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing on the guitar that will change is the neck. If everything has been set up really, really nicely and it plays nicely, and you suddenly find that your guitar is like, oh, the action's too high or something is buzzing, that will probably be a neck adjustment, just a little bit. I'm in a hotter room, I'm in a colder room, I just need to make a little adjustment for that. The intonation, usually once that is set, and you're continually using the same strings again and again and again, it should stay in place, but it's always worth. Use your ears, use your tuner. It takes 1 minute to check all the way across. But usually, once it's all been set up, it should stay in place. But the one thing that may move more than anything else
is the truss rod.
Is the neck, and that's where some of the adjustments. But the truss rod on here was fine.
So for today, all the tools that we used were just this one screwdriver,
a couple of
those Allen keys are for the truss rod.
They'll be different for each guitar.
Yeah,
they should come with a guitar. You should get your basic toolkit.
This Phillips screwdriver, it works for the springs, and with the same one that worked for
you may need two slightly different ones. Sometimes the screws on the back might be flat, so use a flat-headed screwdriver.
It's always a good thing to have a new set of strings.
If you start with a brand new set of strings and then set everything up according to the strings that you want to play with, then your guitar should be fairly consistent each time you change the strings with the same strings.
Yeah. So that's it. Thank you very much, Allcash.
I hope it's useful for your audience.
For me, that I didn't know anything about it, I feel a little more confident of, if I have an emergency, because normally what I will do, I have my guitar tech and I'll send the guitar to him and he calls me the next day and says, okay, it's ready. So, but if I'm, in a hotel, someplace,
no guitar tech,
no guitar tech.
You have to become your own guitar tech.
Yeah. All right. So thank you one more time for your time and your patience and your knowledge. Thanks to everyone who watched it through here. I hope it's helpful for you all as it was for me. And a special thanks for each one of you that's is sharing this video. It's really helpful. I hope to see you next week. Bye.
Bye.